Sergio Perez is coming back to F1 with a shocking new deal. Hamilton's secret contract clause has been revealed, and Toto gives his final verdict on Verstappen to Mercedes. Let's get into the latest F1 news. Imagine this. It's the Italian Grand Prix at Monza in 2025. The engines are screaming, the crowd is electric, and then an announcement drops that sends the entire Formula One world into a frenzy. Sergio Checo Perez is back, not with Red Bull, not with Aston Martin, but with Cadillac. Yes, you heard that right. In one of the most unexpected twists in modern F1 history, Sergio Perez is set to make a sensational comeback in 2026, driving for the brand new Cadillac Formula One team. And today, we're breaking down exactly what's happening, why Cadillac chose Perez, and what this could mean for the future of the sport. So buckle up, because this story has it all: surprise, strategy, and a comeback that nobody saw coming. First, let's set the stage. At the end of the 2024 season, Perez's time at Red Bull came to a close. 2025 was looking like a quiet year for him. A season away from the grid, time to regroup, and maybe even hint at retirement. But behind the scenes, something huge was brewing. Cadillac, the legendary American luxury car maker, had been quietly preparing their entry into Formula One for 2026. They'd secured their spot as the sport's 11th team, with Ferrari supplying their power units. This was no half-hearted project. Cadillac wanted to arrive with a bang, and in the ultra-competitive world of Formula One, a big entrance means two things. One, you need a fast car. Two, you need a driver who can deliver results and bring star power. Enter Sergio Perez. Think about it. Cadillac's debut season will be under a global spotlight. They can't afford a rookie struggling to adapt. They need someone proven, someone with podiums, race wins, and the experience to guide a brand new team through the chaos of an F1 season. Perez checks every box. Over a decade in Formula One, multiple wins against the very best, a reputation for managing tires better than almost anyone on the grid. And perhaps most importantly, a massive fan base across North and Latin America. From Cadillac's perspective, the choice is genius. Not only does Perez bring racing credibility, but he also connects the brand with millions of passionate fans in key markets. This is more than just a driver signing, it's a marketing masterstroke. Now here's where things get even more interesting. The official announcement isn't set to happen until Monza next year. Why? Simple. Timing is everything. Revealing the deal at Monza, one of the most iconic venues in F1, guarantees maximum attention. The Italian Grand Prix is already a magnet for global media, and dropping a bombshell there ensures Cadillac gets the biggest possible stage for their big news. And let's be honest, Formula One loves a bit of theater, but this isn't just about Cadillac and Perez. This move could shake up the entire driver market. With Perez's seat spoken for in 2026, teams looking ahead to the new regulations will need to adjust their plans. We could see earlier contract extensions, surprise exits, and maybe even a bidding war for the remaining top seats. And don't forget, Cadillac isn't entering F1 alone. They're arriving in the same year as the massive 2026 regulation changes. New engines, new chassis rules, a complete reset. For Perez, this is a golden opportunity. In a brand new era, the playing field is more level. If Cadillac nails their car design, Perez could go from a year off to fighting for podiums again. Now, let's talk psychology for a moment, because this comeback isn't just about strategy, it's about narrative. Humans are hardwired to root for a redemption story. We love to see someone fall, disappear, and then return stronger than ever. Think about it. Michael Schumacher's comeback, Fernando Alonso's comeback. Each time, fans rallied behind them, not just because they were talented, but because their story spoke to something deep inside us. The idea that you can rise again after being counted out. Perez's journey fits that template perfectly. Let's rewind a bit. Early in his career, Perez fought his way up from modest beginnings in Guadalajara, Mexico, to the pinnacle of motorsport. He wasn't born into a racing dynasty with unlimited resources. Every seat, every race, every point, he had to fight for it. He went from midfield teams like Sauber and Force India to finally getting his big break with Red Bull, where he played a crucial role in back-to-back Constructors' Championships. But as is often the case in F1, the spotlight can be brutal. Inconsistency, team politics and the relentless pace of teammate Max Verstappen eventually pushed him out. For some drivers, that's the end, but not for Perez. That's why this Cadillac move is so fascinating. It's not just a return to the grid, it's a chance to be the face of a brand new project, to build something from the ground up, to write the next chapter of his career on his own terms. Cadillac, meanwhile, gets exactly what they need: a seasoned driver to anchor the team, provide feedback to engineers, and give sponsors a name they can market globally. And make no mistake, Cadillac isn't joining F1 to be a backmarker. Their entry is backed by General Motors, a giant with the resources to invest heavily. Partnering with Ferrari for power units means they're starting with proven technology. Now, some might be skeptical. Can a new team really compete straight away? History says it's tough. Haas had early flashes of speed but have struggled in recent years. Even big manufacturers like Toyota never quite cracked the code. But the 2026 regulations could change the game. With new rules, the gap between established teams and newcomers could shrink dramatically. If Cadillac plays their cards right, and with a driver like Perez in the cockpit, they could surprise a lot of people. Before we wrap up, let's look at the bigger picture. Formula One is more popular in the United States than ever before. Miami, Austin, Las Vegas, 3 races on American soil. Netflix's Drive to Survive pulling in millions of new fans. Cadillac joining the grid is perfectly timed to ride that wave. Pairing an American brand with a North American superstar driver like Perez could be the perfect formula to capture hearts and headlines. It's not just about lap times, it's about identity. It's about telling a story that fans want to be part of. So here's the bottom line. In 2025, Sergio Perez will be watching from the sidelines, but in 2026, he'll be back, wearing Cadillac colors, aiming to prove that his story is far from over. Whether Cadillac hits the ground running or faces a steep learning curve, one thing's certain: this will be one of the most closely watched debuts in recent F1 history. And if Perez pulls it off, if he takes this new team to the podium, it won't just be a comeback, it'll be a legacy-defining moment. Lewis Hamilton's Ferrari contract might just be one of the boldest moves in Formula One history. Reports say there's a clause that gives Hamilton the power to decide if he stays for 2027, no matter how the 2025 and 2026 seasons go. In other words, Ferrari can't drop him, even if he's underperforming. This is rare in F1, and it's causing quite a stir. Let's break down why this is such a big deal, what it means for Ferrari, and what it says about Hamilton's legacy. When Hamilton announced his switch from Mercedes to Ferrari starting in 2025, the headlines called it a multi-year deal. Most assumed it covered 2025 and 2026, but new reports claim that at the end of 2026, the decision to continue for a third year rests solely with Hamilton. Not Ferrari, not team principal Fred Vasseur, just Lewis himself. Why is this controversial? First, it flips the usual power dynamic. In F1, teams almost always control the option to keep or drop a driver. Here, Ferrari has effectively handed that control to the driver. Second, it means Hamilton's position isn't tied to his on-track performance. Even if he has a poor season, he could still choose to stay. Third, Hamilton isn't just a driver. He's one of the most marketable athletes in the world. His presence brings sponsorship, global attention, and brand prestige. That alone makes him a valuable asset, regardless of results. But there's a flip side. By giving Hamilton this option, Ferrari limits its own flexibility. Let's say a rising star emerges in 2026, or a top driver becomes available. If Hamilton decides to stay, Ferrari's seat is locked. That could create tension inside the team, especially with Charles Leclerc as his teammate. Now let's look at Hamilton's start with Ferrari. So far, his 2025 season has been tough. 14 races in, he hasn't reached the podium, while Leclerc has scored multiple strong finishes. In Hungary, after a poor qualifying session, Hamilton even called himself useless and suggested Ferrari might need to replace him. That comment hit headlines immediately. But despite the frustration, he's been deeply involved in improving the car, providing detailed feedback, pushing for design changes, and trying to rebuild Ferrari into a championship contender. So why would Ferrari agree to such a clause? There are a few possible reasons. One is negotiation leverage. Hamilton was the hottest free agent when his Mercedes deal ended. If Ferrari wanted to secure him, they may have had to offer terms no other team would. Another is commercial value. Even if results aren't there, Hamilton's global appeal boosts Ferrari's brand and attracts sponsors. Finally, Ferrari might believe that Hamilton's experience and leadership will pay off in the long term, especially with the 2026 regulation changes that could reshuffle the competitive order. For Hamilton, this clause is a safety net and a power move rolled into one. If Ferrari's 2026 car isn't competitive, he could walk away without being forced out. If the team shows promise, he can stay and fight for that elusive 8th title. Either way, he's in control of his own future, something most drivers never get. For the rest of the grid, this changes the game. It means one of the sport's most sought-after seats could be unavailable until Hamilton decides otherwise. That could impact the career moves of drivers like Carlos Sainz, young talents in F2, or even big names who might have considered Ferrari in the future. It also sends a message to other drivers. With enough leverage, you can negotiate more control over your career. But is this a smart move for Ferrari? That's the million-dollar question. On one hand, they get Hamilton, 7-time champion, massive fan base, unmatched experience. On the other, they give up control, which is risky in a sport where timing and adaptability are everything. If Hamilton struggles and still decides to stay, Ferrari could be stuck in a tough spot. If he thrives, the gamble will look like genius. There's also the psychological factor. Knowing he can't be dropped might give Hamilton confidence and security, which could translate into better performance. Or it could create pressure from fans and media if results don't match expectations, leading to awkward questions about whether he should still be in the seat. This clause could also set a precedent. Other top drivers might start demanding similar terms, changing the balance of power in F1 contracts. Teams may resist, but for the biggest stars, the demand for their services might outweigh the risks. At the end of the day, this is about control, legacy, and trust. Ferrari is betting that Hamilton will deliver, and Hamilton is betting that Ferrari will give him the machinery to fight at the front. If both sides hold up their end, this could be remembered as a masterstroke. If not, it could be one of the most talked about contract decisions in years. So, what does this mean for the fans? More intrigue, more speculation, and more reasons to watch. Every race in 2026 could feel like part of a bigger story, not just about the championship, but about whether Hamilton chooses to continue his Ferrari chapter. The bottom line? Lewis Hamilton's Ferrari contract gives him unprecedented control over his future, and it's shaking up the traditional team-driver relationship in Formula One. Whether it leads to glory or regret, one thing is certain: it's a game changer. Imagine standing at the very edge of innovation, where the split-second decisions in a wind tunnel today shape championship cars of tomorrow. That's exactly where Aston Martin finds itself, with the legendary Adrian Newey now calling their drawing board home. In this video, we're diving deep into how Newey's arrival, alongside a brand new ultra-modern wind tunnel, is finally unlocking Aston Martin's ambitious vision for the all-new 2026 F1 era. Stay tuned, because this isn't just engineering, it's a revolution in motion. Let's set the context. In early 2025, Aston Martin officially switched on their long-awaited in-house wind tunnel at their Silverstone AMR Technology campus. This sleek 60,580 cubic meter facility houses everything from additive manufacturing tools to a model build area designed specifically for advanced 60% scale car models, enabling lightning-fast testing and efficiency. Not only does this put them in control of development timelines, it ends their long reliance on Mercedes' shared tunnel. Then there's the man of the moment, Adrian Newey. The F1 car design maestro, fresh from his championship-laden stint at Red Bull, joined Aston Martin in March 2025 as their managing technical partner and major shareholder. His track record is unrivaled. He's responsible for iconic cars spanning Williams, McLaren, and Red Bull. And now, he's drawing ideas for the 2026 regulations at Aston Martin. Here's where things get exciting. According to team principal Andy Cowell, Newey's arrival has sparked a creative surge in the wind tunnel team. Engineers are experimenting with more adventurous architectural ideas, bold aerodynamic components that go beyond incremental tweaks. Cowell even revealed that the time from Newey's drawing board to seeing a model in the tunnel now takes just 1/3 of what it used to. It's not just about speed, it's about mindset. Cowell described how Newey's presence has ignited real excitement and ownership across the aero department. Suddenly, there's a palpable energy, not just about building cars, but about redefining the rules under 2026's active aero regime. Why is that vital? Because early regulation cycles often provide opportunities for innovation before convergence sets in. Newey has done this before. Think McLaren's dominant MP413 in 1998 or Red Bull's RB5 in 2009, and he's doing it again. Beyond culture, the actual technology is a leap forward. The new wind tunnel comes equipped with sophisticated measurement systems and integrated model building facilities, meaning everything from design to test is happening under one roof. No more loading models into vans and praying they arrive intact. And there's more. A recent collaboration with ARM, the AI compute experts, has enabled real-time data analysis from thousands of sensors embedded within a 40% scale model. This allows engineers to understand airflow with unprecedented granularity, even within the FIA's strict wind tunnel time limits. Put simply, Aston Martin now has both the engineering genius of Newey and the digital infrastructure to match, giving them the freedom to explore radical aero ideas at pace. Here's the strategic play. Andy Cowell and the team are taking a bold approach, shifting their focus firmly to the 2026 car. In fact, they've even conserved wind tunnel hours, holding off full 2025 usage so Newey could maximize his impact on the new regulations. 2025, in many ways, becomes a transitional sandbox. Fernando Alonso, reflecting on the journey, sees it too. The hope and promise rest in what's coming next. Alonso himself called Newey's hiring and the new infrastructure the most important day in the team's history. According to Cowell, the team is setting exceptionally high targets, not settling for good, but shooting beyond great. He's clear, they want a winning culture, and it starts with questioning everything. Even after a bad weekend, engineers should feel they missed out. That mindset is coming directly from Newey's influence. So, what does all this mean? Simply put, Aston Martin is architecting their future. They've built the infrastructure, secured the expertise, and are setting the cultural tone. If they execute well, 2026 could represent their leap to the very front of the grid. If you're excited about Aston Martin's 2026 project, hit that like button. Drop a comment with the radical aero idea you think we might soon see. And don't forget to subscribe for exclusive breakdowns as the new rules unfold. Buckle up, because this is the next great chapter in Formula One evolution. Have you ever wondered if there's a hidden advantage lurking beneath the surface of Formula One? A secret shortcut that not everyone can see until it becomes undeniable. Today, we're diving into the heart of a controversy that's reignited around the sport, the AB team model, and why McLaren is demanding fairness now more than ever. Picture this. Red Bull owns two F1 teams, the powerhouse Red Bull Racing and its sister team, Racing Bulls. Now imagine staff and leadership shifting instantly between them. That's exactly what happened when Laurent Mekies jumped straight from Racing Bulls to become the CEO and team principal of Red Bull Racing without any gardening leave or delay. McLaren sees a problem and says so loudly, and there's more brewing beneath the surface. Here's the backdrop. Until July 9th, 2025, Christian Horner helmed Red Bull Racing. He built the team from nothing into an empire, 8 drivers' championships and 6 constructors' titles. But internal tensions and controversies finally led to his dismissal. Enter Laurent Mekies, previously the head of Racing Bulls and a former Ferrari leader. He was installed immediately as Red Bull Racing CEO, while Alan Permani took over Racing Bulls. McLaren CEO Zak Brown had long criticized the AB team structure, calling it a real problem that compromised fairness and integrity in F1. Following Horner's departure, Brown declared, "Formula One is healthier without him." He praised Mickey's rise as a breath of fresh air, hoping it would usher F1 back toward respectful, track-focused competition. Why does McLaren care? Because when two teams fall under the same owner, the risk of shared intellectual property, coordinated strategy, and unfair insider advantage skyrockets, especially when leadership can shift overnight. No gaps, no cooling-off period. That undermines the spirit of independent competition. Even Andrea Stella, McLaren's team principal, acknowledges it's complicated, but insists F1 must consider evolving rules around team independence and mandatory gardening periods when staff swap sides. So what happens next? The FIA is already drafting changes in F1's 2026 regulations to enforce mandatory gardening leave, preventing staff from bouncing instantly between co-owned teams. Here's the psychological angle. When we suspect imbalance, our trust fractures, McLaren is betting that rules reform can rebuild belief in fairness, in cause, in competition. And frankly, so are fans. Other evidence points to a larger trend in F1. Teams are increasingly structured with specialized leadership, split between commercial and technical roles, not one autocratic boss. McLaren has Zak Brown and Andrea Stella. Red Bull, under Mekis, is following this more engineered, siloed model. Contrast this with Horner's style, a flamboyant, firebrand leader who often crossed lines. His departure, according to Brown, is already shifting the tone toward a more professional paddock vibe. We're drawn to stories of power shifting, of David versus Goliath, of an underdog McLaren challenging a Goliath structure. That's exactly what's happening here. And watching a whole sport reset, engineer-wise, rule-wise, is compelling. So let's recap. 1. F1's AB team. Model, Red Bull Racing and Racing Bulls, raised fairness red flags. 2. Laurent Mekies jumped immediately from one to the other, spotlighting the problem. 3. McLaren's leadership demanded change. 4. FIA responded by crafting regulations to enforce gardening leave. 5. The sport is visibly shifting toward more modern, equitable management models. As we edge into a new era of governance in Formula One, one that's more technical, less political, we can't help but feel that change is good. It may even level the playing field and focus attention on racing, not drama. What do you think? Is McLaren paving the way for a fairer F1, or just playing politics? And do you think Mekies can deliver the race day performance Red Bull needs in 2025 and beyond? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's keep this conversation going. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Onward toward cleaner racing and a sport built to race, not bicker.